You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
Are you tired of the flickering lights and unreliable power sources of the past? Tired of being held back by the limits of traditional energy? Argus Solar Industries. We harness the power of Ramina to bring you clean, efficient and sustainable energy. Our cutting-edge solar technology illuminates your world, powering your homes, businesses and communities. With Argus, you're not just choosing energy, you're choosing a brighter future. A future powered by the sun, a future powered by you. Argus Solar Industries, bringing you a brighter tomorrow.
Hi there, my name's Ed Fortune. I couldn't do this game without some lovely players, so... No, I'm Mikey. No, I'm Mikey. Hi, I'm Mikey. I'm running the game this time. We're on episode 4 now, which is quite exciting. And as Ed quite often says, I couldn't do this game without some lovely players. So I'm going to introduce you to my dear friends, or in fact, more importantly, I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, and we'll start with Adam.
Hello, my name is Adam. I am playing Rukeo Balazari, Kalanat priest of the Church of Neridia.
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm playing Savriel Sai, a Nautilus soldier sharpshooter.
Hi, I'm Lou. I'm playing Kuro Arak, a Shistavainen Batman.
Hi, I'm Ed Fortune, and my character is called Captain Akata Heek. He is a Tynan, which means he looks like a beaver, and he is an engineer for an organization called the Shadow Vanguard.
It's not sinister.
It's really not.
It's really not. The LaRue estate is in ruins. You have barricaded yourselves in the kitchen. And up until recently, the chanting from the forest has been permeating the air, making it clear that this is not a small assault. There are many, many of these creatures just out in the grounds. Why they're here, you don't know, but you suspect it's to do with the glowing crystal that you have in a box on your persons. Who has the crystal? I can't recall. Somebody is... Adam, are you holding the crystal?
I think I am. Yes, I think I am.
I think you are. Yeah. I don't need you to roll anything or anything like that. I just need to know where it is. The atmosphere in the kitchen is one of panic and worry. LaRue is lying against the big oak table that has been used as a barricade, coughing and spluttering. He clearly is not in a good way. His face is pale. He's obviously in pain, but his eyes are darting around. He's clearly, despite being broken, panicked. Everybody else is dealing with the invasion in a different way. Captain Saito stands near the door, gun ready, his eyes scanning each of the entranceways. Lady Thorncrest leans casually against the countertop. She's pulled a small box out of her pocket and pulled out a rolled cigarette, which she is now smoking casually. For those of you who are not perceptive in the ways of people, she doesn't seem fazed at all. But anybody who has had any sort of social or political kind of connections know that she is worried. All of her external reactions are to indicate calmness, but you know they're put on. Because it's extra. There is more to it than that. Lady Vale is on a small stool in the corner. She is muttering quiet prayers to herself. Her voice is steady and soft, but she is faltering in what she says. The butler and the housekeeper are the ones who seemingly are the most in control of their emotions. Mrs. Tolvin is checking the gun while she has time for respite and clearing. It's not a brand new thing, it is an antique. So she's going through all of the moving parts, pulling out what you'd assume to be the battery pack, checking it, putting it back in, checking the sights and everything like that. Mr. Tolvin is by his master, along with the doctor. It's gone eerily quiet. Well, it hasn't gone eerily quiet. There is a storm raging outside now, but there's no more chanting. You don't know where they are. What do you do?
Captain, you said you knew about these things.
It's odd. They are. When I patrol the outskirts, make sure everything's working, make sure the systems are scrubbing and the old systems are still keeping us the world stable and making sure the artefacts are still monitoring and all the rest of it. We do occasionally see Wren, they're called, normally in cave systems, sometimes subaquatic. They're semi-sentient. They are harmless. You turn on a powerful enough device and they run away. They don't like technology at all. Make a loud enough noise, make a big enough bang. A gunshot over the head is way too much for their senses. They'll flee, and if not that, a flare or two. Turning on a simple generator would be enough. As a rule, they don't like the technology. If we put something down or we build something and they're in the area, they'll flee. They can use tools. They can, throw mud. They can throw rocks. They can make noises. They're just another piece of wildlife. They are ants that are more dangerous.
Not today, apparently.
I don't understand it.
There's been a lot today that I don't understand, and I think it might all come from the same place.
Yeah, this crystal is very unusual. It gives off energies such as I have never seen. I have encountered the occasional crystal which gives off, I suppose the closest analogy is light, except it is light to my vision rather than yours. Indeed, there are artists that occasionally incorporate them into displays to add an additional dimension to the sculptures. This is unlike anything I have ever encountered like that before. The brightness is much greater, and the way it pulses and shifts, it feels alive in a way I have never encountered before.
I can see why LaRue would be interested in it.
Yeah.
When you say light, you don't just mean simple radiation, do you?
No, I mean, it is very hard to describe, in the same way that you would find it difficult to describe to me what a solar eclipse would look like, because you have eyes to see that in a way that I do not. It is the same with this. It is very hard for me to describe how I perceive it, because it is with a sense which I possess and you do not. There is overlap in the phrases perhaps that we could both use to describe vision, but ultimately the words do not do it justice or accuracy.
They are frequencies and sounds and radiations that are harmful to living things and can cause them to behave erratically. And beyond that, they are even stranger things.
Is this harmful to us, or is this just attracting the things out there?
Given the evidence, I'd say it's harmful.
Well, yeah, but is it harmful in what it's doing? Or is it harmful in how it's calling? Is the energy it's giving off? Then, what happened to LaRue in terms of him being suspended and choked? That hasn't happened to anybody else. I've been carrying this gem since we got him down, and I have had no ill effects, save that I am struggling to see. It is as if I am carrying a bright torch, and where I can perceive, even when I focused and played, it is being overwhelmed. If we had the chance to sit down and breathe properly and I could consult my books, then maybe I could see if there's any reference to anything like this ever. But here, now, in this place, with those things howling outside and banging on the door, it is not the best time for research. Yeah?
I often get accused of attending things like this for the publicity. I am a face of the Vanguard and I don't particularly like it. But the real reason I turn up is because sometimes someone picks something up they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
This is a thing that should have been covered in lead, covered in warnings, and then, in the nicest way, called a priest and also a demolitions expert.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, Captain.
There is a coughing and spluttering from Lord LaRue. Really, while you've been talking, you only just noticed that he has had a bit of a heated conversation with the doctor, and you catch at the end of the conversation with him going, we can't, we must go, we must. He looks around the room, scanning, sees you, Lou, and beckons you over to him as a person he trusts. LaRue has always been such a bombastic man. He is a larger-than-life man. You can see why people follow him, because he is unflappable in his way. But now, and the first time you've ever seen it, you see fear in his eyes. All of the energy that he usually puts out has gone, and he's just a man who's scared. You must listen, he says. The Solarium holds the key to understanding all of this. All of this madness. The artefacts in there, the maps, the diary. We'll need it. We can't leave it here, or else we'll never find out what's going on.
You stay there, sir. There's two ways I can think of doing this. Either we go now, when those howling things are out looking for this crystal, or we evacuate as many people as we can with the airship. Maybe I stay behind, pick up what I can. But if the thing's in the airship, the crystal's in the airship, it'll go faster than we can. We go certainly faster than they can. And if they're chasing it, if we lead them right to a military base, hopefully they'll be able to take them out. But we need to evacuate as many people as possible out of this place.
It occurs to you, Lou, that whilst nobody else in here, apart from maybe the Tolvins and the people who live in this house, wouldn't know, the east stairs are the servant stairs, and they take you up to the second floor where the solarium is, which means that it would be a quick walk across the hallway to get to it, so you wouldn't have to go through this barricaded door. It leads right the way down into the kitchen and through a cupboard in the back of the pantry. Sorry, a door in the back of the pantry.
Right. I could do a quick one up there now, and hope that they're not up there. Shouldn't be, but we don't know. But then we need to evacuate.
If I can get to a roof or a flat surface, I can call my ride. If you give me the crystal, I can lead them away.
That's not a bad idea.
The solarium is a room with massive windows in it and a double kind of door into like a roof garden. So it would be a perfect place to pick up a bee if you could get up there without any sort of trouble.
Captain Sato, do you need to defend this place with all these people here while we get this document?
It depends who's going.
This is why I'm questioning where we put our best resources. Do we have to hold here, or would it be helpful if I joined you looking upstairs?
I'll stay here. Mrs. Tolvin is doing a good job. I think between us, we'll be all right. Go, make sure.
I'll get this document.
Make sure it's done.
Yes, I will join you.
Mikey, I'd like to make sure that at least some of the doors are barricaded again.
Yep, both of the doors. The back door to the outside is a heavy door with a big bolt across it. Doesn't need to be barricaded. But the door behind you into the house is a lot flimsier, and that's got a table pushed against it right now, with a couple of people leaning against this table. And this is an old kitchen table from a manor house. It is solid, and whilst not oak, something very similar to it. It's a hardwood. It is not something that could easily be punched through. You wouldn't expect to see swords coming through it from the outside of the table. It's fairly safe.
So what I'd like to do is completely ruin 2 spice racks. So I don't even ask permission. Carter just goes over, sees 2 beautiful metal spice racks, rips them off the wall, goes over to the barricade and builds essentially brackets so that area is more defensible and easier to defend, because if you push in one direction, it's only going to move one way, if you see what I mean. And does this in a kind of whilst talking, just almost like a busy work, makes it less reliant on people leaning against it, and it just makes it easier to defend.
Okay.
But also now there's spice everywhere.
Yeah, I just thought you were being casually violent, randomly violent. I'm just going to destroy this place. It's not going to be here much longer anyway.
Thorncrest watched you sprinkling this spice while trying to set things up. And she said, well, that's an idea. I was worried that nobody had a better idea than getting killed in the kitchen. It's good that we have this backup plan.
I can think of better places to die, certainly.
Yeah, I really don't want to die doing something I don't really understand. When I die, I want it to be entirely in my control.
Well, let's see what we can do there. Sorry, that came across very threatening. I did not mean it in such a fashion. It's... Oh, this is getting to me. Captain, here is the crystal. The rest of us... you have your pistol, yeah? Still, Captain?
Yes, I have my pistol.
When you are mounted and about to fly... Then again, actually, the rest of you will be coming back down here with the notes. Okay.
Either way, getting them away so we can evacuate to the airship.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the crystal.
I will take my bee, land it on the lawn, make a lot of noise, and then fly away.
Yeah. So the rest of us, we need to make ready that as soon as the rest of our colleagues return from the Solarium, to pull away the barricade at the back and make a run towards the hangar where we have the means of egress from this estate, while the valiant captain draws these creatures away from us.
Lady Vale, who has been kind of muttering prayers to herself, says, where are you going, Captain?
That's a question I was going to ask. Where am I hiding until we regroup?
Fly around the estate and then rejoin us on the airship. You can fly. Once we have pulled away from the estate, you will be able to see us, even through the storm, and then you can just rejoin us on the airship with the crystal. So they won't be able to follow us as we fly away. There is the downside that we might be dragging these things across half the countryside, but what else is the options we have?
Ed, they're quite sprightly things, but they won't be able to outpace an airship. You're going to get away from them.
Where's the closest airship dock?
You're asking me. It's you're quite in the country. It's about 45 miles away towards the city. It's a hub for a rail station, essentially like a car park. It's not even a proper docking for an airship. It's not a hub like that. But it is an annex you can get to a train station from.
So in character, I need to look at a map, but maybe Landvan Station.
If you think that you can get there, I do not wish you to tire out your steed in this storm.
I can get to Landvan. We'll need to feed. But I can get to Landvan, and then we can stay in the air whilst we...
Yeah, and if you intercept us along the way, then so be it.
I can't keep up with an airship.
It does occur to you, Ed, that the storm is quite prolific and your mount does not ride very well in the wet. But you might be able to get there if you really push, but that will be as far as you can go. You will need to rest.
Let's get to the Solarium, find a map, figure out a rendezvous.
Yeah, I am no pilot, but I imagine that once we are away from the estate and maybe outside the storm, we could always hover the airship so you can then catch us up. We do not need to make great speed to, we merely need to make great speed from. Can any of us actually pilot an airship?
I can, says Captain Sato. I mean, not well, I'm not a pilot, but I have had training.
Excellent. Very well. Goddess, go with the three of you.
Light grant you strength. Light shield us all, says Lady Vale.
Kuro, shall we go?
Captain?
You go through the pantry, and at the back of the pantry there is another door. It is very unassuming and not like the grand doors for the rest of the house. You open the door and it leads to some worn wooden stairs that go up the side of the interior of the house and have doors on very small landings for different rooms to allow the serving staff and the servants to get into different rooms without much of a hurrah. you know, Lou, that it doesn't get used very often, but it is there in case. Lord LaRue is not the sort of person who wants you all to be out of sight, out of mind, but the house has been here a long time, so it is dusty in here. It hasn't been used very often. There are cobwebs along the corners of the roof. It is not lit very well. The lights are yellow and flickering, whereas the lights in the rest of the house are bright. But now, at the moment, it's dark because the lights are off. So you look up this set of stairs. You cannot see far enough to the top of them. You just see darkness after a few feet. Who's going first, and how are you doing it?
It would be me going first because I know where I'm going.
Yeah, that was my thought too.
Would I have been able to pick up something like a torch from the kitchen?
There are them. They're for emergencies when the power goes off, because the people who will fix that basically live in the kitchen. So yeah.
So I'll have picked up a torch on my way through because I don't want to be turning lights on because I don't want to attract attention.
There are 2 torches in the kitchen, and unless anybody says otherwise, Captain Sato picks the second one.
Yep, I would say let's leave one here.
You illuminate the way up the stairs. You can see the first floor entrance onto the hall a little bit further back. You can't quite see the second floor yet, but you know it's there. You've got another 10 feet to go, and then you can get to the hall on the second floor, which leads across to the solarium. Who's going next?
I'm happy to go next. I'm also going to be picking out my electro-binoculars out of my pocket. In keeping with the time, they are on a little chain, hanging out of a pocket. They allow me to see in low light, but I'm assuming they would... I can disable the magnification setting so they can just see what's directly in front of me.
Yeah, you can. That's absolutely fine. One thing I would say, though, is you have to be very wary of the torch, because if it turns around to see you, you're going to have problems, because it picks up low light very well. So a torch beam at your face, not great. So you are a little bit wary of looking forwards, but you can see around where the torchlight is.
Yeah, well, I mean, the torch is lighting the way anyway, so I don't need these tremendously much, but it would help if I can see, into darkened spaces.
What I'm saying is if you get a despair, you might go blind.
Okay.
Just for a round or 2.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, in my other hand, I'm carrying my rifle because I want to be ready.
All right. You start making your way up the stairs. They are... And you haven't really noticed this before, Lou, but you notice it now. They're really super creaky. And obviously they've always been really super creaky, but it's never been important.
It's also, I'd imagine, never been this quiet.
Yeah, once you get into the stairway, the storm, because you're actually in the internals of the house, is quite quiet. So yes, as soon as you go in there, it gets very quiet, and all you can hear is every single footstep as you carefully make your way up. Now, you are a person who is quite light on their feet, good on their toes. You are a person who knows how to control how they move. Not everybody in this group is, but they are all fairly competent people out in the field. So after the first few steps, you start getting into the pace, and you can tell that everybody is masking the noise by making them sure they are heel-toeing on the stairs and things like that. But it is still super loud. You get to the first floor. You can hear noises of movement on the first floor landing. It's not hissing or anything like that, but kind of, I think you hear something like a bookshelf being knocked over. Very clear, very... Ed, you know what the sound of a bookshelf being knocked over is. There's no other sound like it. It sounds like, at least on the first floor, they are ransacking the house.
Carter is picking up the back, by the way, and my nose is going very quickly because obviously being beaver-shaped and quite soft-footed, but you can hear him sniff, and he's sniffing quite a lot because I'm trying to find that dry dirt and leather smell that you get with lizards. Like, that's what I imagine them to smell like, as kind of having a kind of sniffing for that, like, kind of wood chips, dry dirty. Yeah, would that be perception?
I want a perception roll, yes please.
Cool. What's my difficulty?
I'm going to give you a bonus, not necessarily on sensors, but on the fact that nobody knows you're there, so they're not being quiet about it.
Okay, and how many purple am I throwing into?
Oh, so it's a normal roll, sorry. So 2 dice.
That is, 3 success and 1 crab.
And 1 advantage.
Yeah.
Okay. With 3 successes, you can hear that not only are there people on this floor, you hear footsteps on the stairs going up to the second floor. The thing you mostly sense is there is a fire somewhere going on. can smell smoke. It's not close to you, but you can smell just a tang of smoke on the air. What would you like your advantage to be?
For the advantage, communicate successfully to the party exactly what's going on and exactly where we are, especially fire, by whispering the word fire rather than doing charades. To communicate fire.
Dear. Okay, yes. Are we carrying on, going up to the second floor?
Yes,
Okay.
I think we should be less worried about the element of surprise and more worried about the fire in that case. Let's be a bit more urgent in movement.
You make your way up. Lou, now he mentions it. Yeah, you can smell it.
Yep.
Ross, no, you're not. No idea.
Okay.
You are an aquatic dwelling chap, so you can smell blood and toast at many, many miles in the water, but not
But not what is making the toast.
on land. Your sense of smell's not as great. So you make your way up the stairs, creaking every time you put pressure on them, and after not too long, you are on the top floor. It is not all of you on the top floor landing because there's literally not enough room. It is a box with a door on it. It is no wider or than the stairs and square. The door, should not be locked and leads out onto the landing on the second floor.
I will open the door as quietly as I can, putting an eye round just to see if we're in any immediate danger.
You open the door quietly. You can see from the balcony on the second floor to go down to where the stairs are. There are others of these creatures in the house on the ground floor and on the first floor, but there's none, despite hearing some come upstairs, on this landing.
So, move everyone through quickly to the solarium.
Yeah. As you walk onto the carpet of the hall, obviously the creaking of your feet stop. You're able to glance down and you see where the fire is. The dining room that you started in, there is smoke coming out of it and light coming from it. It's what illuminates the other creatures downstairs because it is fairly dark.
Need to deal with that in a bit.
You make your way across the landing quietly, carefully. The solarium doors are open, which is unusual because they tend to be kept closed because they keep the heat in. It is a wonderfully warm room in the summer and even in the winter. So it is something they don't want to let the heat out if they want somewhere warm.
Be aware, we might not be alone.
You glance into the solarium. The storm outside presses against the tall arched windows like a living thing. Rain lashes on the glass relentlessly in waves, streaking down the panes, warping faint outlines of the garden beyond. Flashes of lightning illuminate the room for a brief, stark burst, casting jagged shadows that seem to claw at the walls. The solarium, once a sanctuary of light and learning, is now a battlefield waiting to ignite. The air is damp and cold where windows have been cracked and smashed, carrying a faint smell of wet stone and old parchment. Towering bookshelves stretch high into a vaulted ceiling, their contents dimly visible in the erratic light. Many tombs, scrolls, and documents lie in disarray, their spines cracked and worn as if rifled in a desperate search. In the centre of the room, a wide circular table stands like a forgotten relic of better days, its surface cluttered with maps, loose papers, and small, mysterious artefacts that gleam faintly in the gloom. The one point of illumination is a lantern light flickering at the table, casting long, uneasy shadows that only deepen the room's sinister mood. Encircling the room, there are several display cases that stand like silent sentinels. Each case holds a relic of the old Republic. Ancient data crystals, rusted daggers, fragments of armor from long-forgotten battles. The glass in some of these cases is cracked, while in others it remains intact. Treasures protected between their thick panes. In the corner, an ornate weapons rack leans against the wall, its contents arranged in meticulous care. Vibraswords, ceremonial daggers, a few sleek, dusty carbines. The room is not empty, however. A figure crouches near the shattered remains of a display case against the far wall, its shards glittering like jagged stars across the floor. The creature, a hunched, alien-looking thing with mottled amphibious skin, turns at the very brief sound of your entry, its bulbous eyes glinting with malice in the dim light. Clutching in its webbed hands a small, bubbling vial that glows faintly in an unsettling, sickly light. It hisses a guttural challenge at you, its mouth curling into a malicious grin. It is not alone. A group of similar creatures, their skin mix of green and greys, emerge from the shadows, their serrated teeth barred, armed with jagged spears and cruel blades. The storm outside intensifies as if echoing the rising tension. The only sound in the room is the heavy pattering of rain and low, ominous growls of your attackers.
I'm going to wait for the next peal of thunder, then I'm going to shoot them.
It's only about 3 seconds later, but it seems like an age as you wait for it.
In which case, I will aim.
Yes, you get the chance to line up your shot. And I think we'll go into initiatives.
Is this a cool or a vigilance?
Cool, I think.
Yeah, I could see the argument that it's cool for Lou because she's kicking it off, and vigilant for the rest of you because you didn't expect Lou to immediately kick it off. But I could see an argument for both.
I'll put it this way: would you have expected Lou to kick it off? Because if you would, it's cool. If you didn't, it's vigilance. I would say if you roll vigilance, it's kind of suggesting to me that you didn't see the creatures yet. So,
being at the back, I'm going to roll vigilance.
Okay, that's
I have
fine.
not seen the creatures. As soon as I hear the cocking of a weapon, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, no, here we go.
that makes sense. Yeah, you can argue vigilance very happily like that.
Yeah, and I can use my survival for initiative rolls.
You can.
Whee!
Yeah, so I think my cool is better, but I think it's more character to go with vigilance on account of I'm looking for a fire rather than necessarily people to attack. My roll is worse because I'm using vigilance. It is 2 advantage.
I too get 2 advantage.
You're doing all right.
So yes, I get 3 success, 1 advantage, and 1 triumph.
They are on 2 successes and 1 advantage for the Mook group, and 1 success, no advantages for the big thing. Sorry, to save time, I rolled all of their initiatives beforehand.
Yeah, makes sense.
Nice and easy. Initiative is 1 player character, then both sets of non-player characters, then the remaining player characters.
And if anybody can argue that it's not Lou going first, I'm going to call you on it, because it's Lou going first. Especially because you've got your triumph there.
So my free manoeuvre is to aim.
Yep.
You can potentially therefore double aim.
So what does double aim give to me?
2 boost.
2 boost. In which case, let's double aim. So yeah, I am absolutely lining up my shot.
What are you shooting at?
Big guy.
Yep. He's not massively bigger than the others, but he's clearly better equipped. He has this glowing potion in his hand, and he is not wearing as raggedy robes. He's still wearing fairly peasant-y gear. He's set apart, but the difference is so minor.
But the mini's been dry brushed.
Yeah.
Given a nice base. Yeah.
Or do I go for the Mook group? Because I could, depending on how this goes, I could potentially take out a couple.
I mean, if it helps, I was thinking of when I see them, or I'm thinking of taking out the moot group around the table, and in particular, the torch that they're using to examine all the documents, because I want to delay them.
Okay, in which case, I will go for the main dude. Because, don't come into my house and mess around with my stuff.
Okay. You were at medium range, because he's on the other side of the room, and it's quite a big room.
Yep. So what's the difficulty?
That was 2 purple for medium range.
Yeah, 2 per.
And that is 2 successes and 4 advantage.
Nice.
Which is enough to crit.
Excellent.
So that is 7 damage and 4 advantage. I would like to crit on him, please.
Okay. And if you could do the honours on that.
Distracted. The target cannot perform a free maneuver during their next turn.
Okay. Lou, if it's all right with you, I'm going to suggest
Yep.
something for this. As you fire a shot at him, he twists, and whilst it hits him palpably in the chest, before it hits the chest, it goes through the vial. It does, and the vial explodes all over him.
I am absolutely fine with that.
And the reason he is distracted by this is because clearly whatever is in this vial burns, and he starts shrieking in pain as this stuff explodes all over his face.
And actually, I would like to spend a strain to do another manoeuvre to effectively get into cover.
Okay. You can move up to the table in the middle of the room and hide behind the table. It's a massive, it's like a presidential desk, this is. It's huge. And it is littered with papers and things like that and little artifacts. I say littered, they're fairly well organised. It doesn't look like these creatures have ransacked the table, but there's a lot of stuff on there. LaRue had a lot of stuff going on at the same time, so there is always this table being full. You've never seen it empty, so this is not unusual. Okay.
NPC to go.
So, NPC, I'm going to leave the guy screaming until the second one. The minions, the amphibians who've come from the shadows, look towards you and then start running their way across. They are going to spend some strain to get double move over to all the way to you. So they're going to first maneuver and then second maneuver to get into combat. Wait a minute, Adam,
Yes.
do minions have strain?
No, they only have wounds.
They can't do that then.
They can if they want to take 2 wounds.
Yeah, we're taking 2 wounds. They push themselves over all of this broken glass and things like that. Possibly they should have taken a little bit more time, but they are eager to broach the distance. It probably makes sense, seeing as you have a massive gun and they only have belaying clubs and things like that. There's about 4 of them. I say about 4 of them. You don't have about 4. There are 4 of them. And they descend upon you. Lou, they're going to go for you.
Yep.
You'd be happy to know that they have done dreadfully. They don't hit at all. They're crowded with their rushing, and it is... If it wasn't a terrifying situation, it would be almost comical, the fact that they seemingly just get in each other's way while they try and hit you. 2 failures and 2 advantages on that roll, so 2 advantages I am keeping. The other creature, now covered in slightly glowing green goo, pulls himself to his feet because the shot knocked him down onto the ground, and pulls out another vial, not the same colour, it's got a glowing red sort of colour, and downs it. That's his action. Whatever he's downed seemingly hurts him as well because he starts screaming. Next person.
Yeah, I think I'm content to leave this person in pain, and I'm going to shoot at the 4 minions as they approach, while they're getting each other's way.
Where are you going to be?
I was following in through the door. I'm assuming it's not a small doorway because we can only go in through one at a time, or we wouldn't all have seen what was going on in the room.
It's a single door. It's not a double door or anything like that, but it is a big door. It's like 25% bigger than a door from like a normal residential house.
It's wide enough for people to carry trays of stuff through.
Yeah.
And impressive sofas and whatever into place, or impressive equipment or what have you.
Yeah.
So yes, the big and obvious threat, because there's something screaming up the side over there, and however impressive it's about to be, the ones who are getting in each other's way actually coming at us are the ones I'm going to target. For your initial description, I was going to think, right, they're in the middle of we are looking at the table and such, I will go for the light and just stop them from making further progress in their research, but they're not doing that anymore, they're trying to attack us. So I'm just going...
So they are at the door now, but they're not, because Lou made her way into the room. So you're at short range with them. Okay,
obviously I've got to avoid trying to shoot Lou as well, but...
Well, no, Lou's moved into the room. She's moved to medium range. Sorry, back up a bit. They are at the door. You're in close combat range with them. Lou is at short range because she's moved into the room.
Right, I would prefer not to be in close combat range with them, so I'm going to have to go through the door quickly and back off a little bit from them.
Okay, that's fine. They are trying to scrabble at you, but they're not the greatest in the way of combat people. They tend to... their tactics quite clearly in numbers.
Right.
You back into the room. Unfortunately, this means you have to turn your back against the one that's slightly screaming and glowing, because you switch around as you walk into the room and let off a shot.
I have 2 success and no advantage.
2 of them are taken out with 1 shot. You shoot one of them, it flips backwards, and the one behind it, you see a blackish, almost, stain on its chest, where the bullet has left its mark. They flunk to the floor.
Obviously, I'm not performing any further maneuver, but I am watching these 2 while the one that's screaming is carrying on behind me.
Okay.
Ed.
So I squeezed past the priest because I was at the back. I've noticed that of the 3 incompetents, Chico and Harpo are already gone, so I will shoot Groucho. So
take that, shout ahead.
It's just when you describe them as being incompetent in the combat, I just like poke in the eye, duck down, total act. And then the soldier just comes along and goes bang. So
is that the Stooges or the Marx Brothers?
It's the Marx Brothers.
Okay.
I'll point blank the remaining.
Okay. At point blank, it's 2 difficulty.
That is 2 success and 1 advantage.
Okay. What damage do you do?
Damage is 4.
So that's 6 damage then.
So 6 damage.
You do almost a classic Indiana Jones as one of them charges towards you with its sword, and you just pull out your pistol and just and it flumps to the floor, as is your idiom.
Like back to the wall, look round, and like calmly as he charges towards me, just go, check that I still got enough bullets. Bang.
Yeah.
Almost apologetically, like there is like I take no joy in this.
He gets hit, but as he's running towards you, it's clear that his body doesn't quite get the idea that he's been shot yet, and he kind of runs the next 5 feet and flumps at your feet, completely dead. There are two of them. One of them is covered in green goo and has red goo pouring down its lips as it's down to the other one. There is a minion left. We're going back up to the top. Who wants to go first?
I'm certainly happy to fire again, but...
Yeah, Ross, if you want to go, seeing as you've got the biggest damage dealer.
Am I going to flip and just turn on this one who's screaming, or am I killing the remainder of the mission group?
Try and take out the big guy.
So, okay, so in fairly smooth movement, I'm just keep turning as I go into the room. This is looking almost like a waltz of some kind.
You are checking all of the corners. It is clear, for those who've not met Ross before, that he knows what he's doing in this thing. He is doing it like he's a SWAT officer. He's checking all the corners. He's doing everything. He's incredibly professional.
Can I aim while I'm rotating? Because
you're not moving, so I mean, other than rotating.
Does that just add a boost die?
Yeah, I imagine it's more flavour rather than a manoeuvre to move in, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm not bracing against anything as I would be as a shot.
You're still staying the same distance away from everybody else than you were before, so it's not technically a move.
I mean, if it helps, the boost die was blank, so...
Okay.
The Sil-Zero blues.
1 success, 2 advantage.
Okay, let's do your successes first. What damage are you doing?
So... straightforward success is just 7 damage for a rifle,
plus 1 for each success, so that'd be 8 then.
Okay, just 8. Yep.
Okay. You walk into the room, you spin around, checking all of the corners as you do so. The creature has pulled itself back to its feet, and you can see that its body is bubbling. Almost, you can see movement under its arms and everything, and cricking and cracking as something is happening since it had this vial of dark red liquid. And you're not having any of that, so you put a bullet between its eyes and it flips backwards over the table, scattering a few of the artefacts, dead.
Yeah, there's a time and a place for scientific curiosity, and that wasn't it.
Okay, who is next? It is the minions.
Minion,
yes. The minion that is remaining follows up on its companion trying to charge at the captain. So it moves into close range with you because you were only at short range from it and has a go. Hits you. Ooh. That's 4 damage as it's got a jagged obsidian club. It swings round, landing it quite palpably onto your shoulder, knocking you slightly down. Your adventurer's leather jacket takes a lot of the sharp glass that goes through, but you do feel the biting of pain as the jacket can only do so much.
Can I take the next section, or...?
Yeah, if you want to respond, go ahead.
Captain Carter rolls the shoulder that's just been bloodied.
Yeah.
Stands up and... Right, so my actual action is to shoot him, but for flavour, I'm going to punch with one hand and then swing with the pistol underneath. So it's like, bop, and then shoot. But it's a flavour, it's not a...
Yeah, happy with that. You swing a punch at him to give you a bit of distance away from him to allow you to shoot him.
It's 2 purple for using a light ranged weapon in melee.
It is.
That's 2 successes.
Okay, you do exactly what you intend to do. You lay him out with a bit of a very quick jab. He stumbles backwards, discombobulated, and as he does that, you shoot him. He's so close that the smoke from the gun reaches him seconds after the bullet does, and he crumples.
So 1 single tight shot in the chest, and then again rolls his shoulder again, clearly kind of like...
It hurts. It feels like maybe some of the glass has broken off in the wound, and that might be an intentional thing, but it hurts. The room is silent. If you ignore the crashing of the rain, the room is no longer a battlefield. It is just a mess.
He's going to put his gun away, and there's a stretching sound as tape has suddenly appeared, and just taping the wound.
Tape that glass in.
Yeah.
Take
the glass
Deal
in,
with it later.
have a shot of whiskey.
That's how you heal. You glance around the room is littered with treasures of the old colony ship. It has papers everywhere. It is a treasure trove of your past. Lightning crashes. You can smell the smoke of the house clearer now. It seems like something is catching, and the house is alight. And that's where we're going to end it for this week.
Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Edge Studios. Our intro music is by the amazing Sly Fox Audio. Check out more of her work at soundcloud.com/SlyFoxAudio. Our outro music is Suburban Outlaw instrumental version by Forget the Whale, used with gratitude under a Creative Commons license. Many of the sound effects and soundscapes are created using Sirenscape because epic games need epic sounds. If you're enjoying the show and want to support us, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/ForceMajeurePod, where for as little as $1 a month you get access to outtakes, adverts, various other stuff, and my fortnightly ramblings. You can drop us a coffee at ko-fi.com/ForceMajeurePod, or you can leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to interact with us, there's a few ways you can do that. We are on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter as @ForceMajeurePod, and we're over on Mastodon as @ForceMajeurePod at dice.can. You can also join our Discord, link in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening and being with us as we tell these stories. We hope you are having fun, and we will see you next time.